Hey, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday Night Live. I am not Pastor Jim. Doing something a little bit different tonight. We're going to be looking back at last Sunday's message and celebrating some of the things the Lord's done over the last 2 weeks as part of our care movement. You might be wondering, how can you simultaneously play the guitar, not hold a guitar, and talk to the camera? I am not that good. But I love what Pastor Jim does just to kind of create an atmosphere of worship before we begin. So I've asked somebody to help. And Tyler's with me tonight. Tyler's going to be leading us in some worship, and then we're going to be joined by someone else. So let's just posture our hearts before the Lord, who is a God of miracles and able to do the impossible. Tyler, lead us in some worship.
Let faith arise. In spite of what I see, Lord, I believe. But help my unbelief, I choose to trust you. No matter what I feel, let faith arise. And let faith arise. For my champion's not dead, he is alive. And he already knows my every need. Surely he will come and rescue me. And God of miracles, come. We need your supernatural love to break through. Nothing's impossible. You're the God of miracles. And let faith arise. And see the kingdom come. I lift my eyes. For the battle has been won, my God is faithful. And every single word he said is true. So God of miracles, come. We need your supernatural love to break through. Nothing's impossible. You're the God of miracles. And this world is shaking, but you cannot be shaken. My heart is breaking, but I'm not broken yet. Your love is fearless. Help me to be courageous too. There's nothing impossible for the God of miracles. Come. We need your supernatural love to break through. Nothing's impossible. You're the God of miracles.
Amen. God of miracles. Thanks, Tyler, for helping us tonight. I'm half worshiping, I'm half watching the Facebook feed, and people seem far more excited to see you tonight than they do me, so you got that going for you. Appreciate it. So one of the things that we've learned as we were working on tonight is that it takes three of us to do what Pastor Jim can do all by himself. So a couple times tonight, you might see us moving around, switching seats, getting where we need to get to just so we can do what he can do all by himself, and sometimes with a banjo. I am joined today by my good friend. I feel like we should introduce ourselves. It's kind of like what we do. So can we introduce ourselves?
Yeah, we should do that.
Hi, I'm not Pastor Jim.
And I'm also not Pastor Jim. And it's Wednesday, not Sunday. So, hello, everybody. I'm glad to be here with you tonight.
I think it is tonight.
It's definitely tonight.
A little weird.
It's okay. Sundays, we do this thing because we don't know when everybody's going to be watching, where we're like, today, like, hello, church, today, because we don't want to give away the fact that they may be watching later. So, hey, this is Wednesday night live.
It's legit Wednesday night.
There we go.
We get to say good evening, good night.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, nice knees.
Thanks, bro. It's born to feel that way. It's great. Hey, Pastor Jim, I know you're out there. Hello. How are you? Miss you. Not you. I'm John.
Yeah, awesome. So here's where we're at, guys. We're in week 2 of the care movement, and we're looking back at the beginning of Acts chapter 13. We've had some fun conversations about this chapter today, and I just thought it might be fun to let some folks into it. If you missed Sunday morning's message, first of all, I really want to encourage you to go back and watch it. Pastor Jim is teaching us about a guy named Barnabas. Barnabas went through a name change. He was born and raised as Joseph, and it seems like the church changed his name to Barnabas, which means son of encouragement. And God was getting ready to send him and a man who you may know, a guy named Paul, on their first missionary journey. This was the beginning of the gospel going to the nations around the known world. And they set 2 people aside while they were fasting and praying. God said, send Saul and send Barnabas. And laid hands on him, prayed for him. John, they got ready to go on this amazing around the world journey. And how far did they make it?
About halfway.
Not even halfway.
Not even halfway.
They made it to the coast.
They made it to the coast. I mean, that's not where they were going. But isn't that an interesting thing to think about? I'm a pretty goal-oriented person. I like to know where I'm headed. But I often find myself in the middle, frustrated, right?
Right.
I mean, you're in the middle of a road trip. Are you pumped? You're not very pumped.
I'm the guy that doesn't let anybody stop to go to the bathroom. Like, you could have peed 200 miles ago and you chose not to. So now we're going. We're going to get there.
But to see their journey, right? And to see them stuck in Seleucia. And I'm wondering, New Life out there, where are you stuck today? We're stuck in the middle of our week, right? It's Wednesday. And I really pray that you come here to receive, to be refreshed. And I hope you find that. But they're stuck in their journey, and I find myself stuck, frustrated that I'm not getting to where I'm going. And Pastor Jim said something that both challenged me and refreshed me. The fact that the journey is kind of the point.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. Yeah, I love that. So the big idea of the message on Sunday was living a sent life, right? And Paul and Barnabas are beginning an apostolic journey. They're apostles, and the word apostle actually means to be sent. So the power was in their obedience and in their taking a step to go. It wasn't in where they finally arrived. So they're leaning into their calling just because they're willing to take a step of obedience and begin to go. And one of the things Pastor Jim was challenging us about on Sunday was whether or not we're willing to make the next step, right? So we're living in a time where people feel like I can't take any step. I can't go anywhere. I can't leave. I can't see people. I got to wear a mask. But Pastor Jim was saying we can see this as an opportunity, that God is looking for mission-minded, kingdom-oriented people who are willing to go, as Isaiah did in Isaiah 6, when the Spirit of God looks around and says, who should I send? Isaiah goes, I'm in, right? Send me. I'm your guy. And as you were listening to Pastor Jim teach on Sunday, what were some of the things, you've already touched on one, that sense of frustration people carry sometimes, but what were some of the things that were resonating in your own heart and mind as God was both encouraging and challenging you?
Pastor Jim quoted Dr. Martin Luther King, and he said, faith is taking the first step even when you don't see the whole staircase. If I don't see where a staircase is going, like, I'm not going another step because I don't know what's next. And just to see that faith is taking that step, that's convicting.
I love roller coasters. I'm like, I'll go on a crazy roller coaster, upside down, as fast as you can, spin me upside down. I love all of it. I almost lose my lunch every time I'm on the tick, tick, tick. You know that part? The tick, tick,
Yeah, I
tick,
know it.
tick, tick. Because we're coming to a point where exactly like you're saying, I can't see over the edge.
Yeah.
But if I'm not willing to get in and go up to the place where I can't see where I'm going just yet, I miss out on the excitement and the joy of the journey. With Jesus, sometimes it feels like a bit of a roller coaster. And if we don't say yes to stepping out, we never walk into the fullness that he has for us.
Yeah.
What's a time in your life where you had to take a step? You came to that moment where you're like, okay, I don't know where this is going to lead to, but I feel like Jesus is saying, this is your next step. Are you willing to do it or not?
Pastor Jim, he said something on Sunday. He said, my Seleucia was the high school across the street, not across the world, right? A step that I had to take happened to be in a different place than I lived, okay? So don't get me wrong, I agree with what he's saying. But I was on my first missions trip. It was to a place called Ione, Washington. And I went there as a new Christian, really seeking what God had for me. I was a sent young man. But I found myself stuck. Like really trying to seek God and what he had for me, but I was stuck learning spiritual disciplines, if I'm honest.
Sure.
And I went there, I went on this trip, and I had a goal. All right, my goal, although elementary, I was a little late to the Christian party, but my goal was I wanted to pray for somebody out loud.
Okay.
It's a big deal for me because every time I was called on to do so, I was terrified. Because what am I going to say? What if I say the wrong thing? Right?
Yeah.
I couldn't see the end of the staircase. That was the prayer.
Right.
And I found myself just like running into this thing, and we're on this trip, and we're there for days and days and days. And it comes to the last day. Everybody knows that that's what I want to do because I confessed it to him. Like, I want to pray out loud. Big deal. And I really feel like God showed me who to pray for.
Okay.
Happened to be the mayor.
No pressure.
I didn't know at the time. Okay, I didn't know at the time.
We're going to start out
I
big.
learned that after the fact. And we're in this like pretty poor town, and we're pressure washing buildings. And I got stuck on this project, I was on this project.
Sometimes missions work. Sometimes obedience feels like I got stuck. I'm doing the grunt work. But it sounds like you're about to tell us that that's where God met you. In the grind. God met you in the grind. Okay.
And
tell us.
I wanted to pray for somebody, and I found myself in a place where there was no people around me raking a field. For days, I was just raking this field. And it's the last day of the trip. We're like getting on the bus to go back to camp and then head home. And somebody had spilled the beans to the mayor that I wanted to pray for him. So he knew, I knew. Now I feel terribly awkward. I don't know what to do. And this step, right, was just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I knew I had to take it to continue to grow in my faith. Like I knew I had to. Like that was the goal, that I was on a journey and I ran into a coast, right? And I had to take this step. And I went up to him, the mayor, and I don't remember his name, but I prayed a pathetic, faith-filled prayer that I'm sure made God smile, right? And I don't know where that prayer ended up with that individual. I don't know how it ended, but I do remember God meeting me in there and just affirming, like, my son, I'm proud. I'm proud of you. And I will always remember that place of frustration, staring at that step and not knowing where that staircase went. And I'm grateful that God met me there.
And you probably didn't realize in that moment that this was a step that was leading up a staircase to pastoral ministry. You're just wanting to be a good disciple.
I had no idea. And without that experience, I may have never prayed for somebody out loud. And I may have gotten stuck there in Seleucia, never getting on the boat. I never could have continued.
We don't know sometimes what our obedience is going to lead to or what our disobedience might compromise. Sure. And so I'm really proud of you. I'm glad you took that step because we might not be sitting here.
Then the John show wouldn't exist.
I don't know what
the
I
world
do.
wouldn't have been blessed with our 12 days of COVID Christmas.
I'd just be walking around saying, "Hi, I'm John," and I wouldn't know what to say after that.
John, what is a time in your life, in your faith walk, where you had to take that step?
So I was a little later. I'm in college. I'm my senior year. I'm down in Pasadena, California at Occidental College. And sometimes a beginning requires an ending. So I was dating a girl at the time, and don't look shocked. Wendy knows the story. As a senior in college, dating this girl, and I thought I was going to marry her. I just kind of we'd been dating 6 months, but I just figured I'm going to chart my life. And she was I knew at that point that I was going to be a pastor, that God was calling me to follow Him, but I didn't know where. And she was very committed to the city of Los Angeles, where she was born, and she was going to live there. And so I found that I couldn't tell Jesus I would follow you anywhere as long as it's in LA, right? You can't really put contingencies on your obedience or where being sent might lead you. Barnabas couldn't say to God, yeah, I'll go. I need to bypass Seleucia. I had to say, yeah, okay, I'll go anywhere. And I realized at that point in my life that I couldn't align myself with her and also align myself with God's plans for my life. I had no idea what I was going to become, where I was going to live. And so I had to break up with her like 2 weeks before I graduated from college, which I don't recommend. If you have a chance to not do that, please don't do it. Guys behind the camera are shaking their heads like, you're a moron. I may have been a moron, but I was an obedient moron, so at least I got that going for me. And if I hadn't done that, if I hadn't trusted God, and it was hard, right? Sometimes that next step is scary. Sometimes it's deeply disappointing. But if I hadn't taken that step that led to an ending, there wouldn't have been a new beginning. I wouldn't have met Wendy. Tyler wouldn't be leading worship here. Forget the John show. There wouldn't be Tyler. There wouldn't be Kaylee. And so I'm able now to look back in gratitude and say, Lord, thank you for knowing better than I did where you were leading me, and being persistent with me until I was willing to take that next step. I'm curious, some of the guys just there on Facebook, or YouTube, what have your next steps look like this week? Is there something that God has invited you into that was easy or was hard? Throw something down in the comments. It'd be great to be able to kind of encourage and cheer one another on in that.
I've gotten nervous in the care movement. As much as that happened when I was like 17, stepping out in faith when you don't know what God's going to do with it, it does take faith, right? It does take trust that God is going to carry you through that caring. And care can be simple. Care can be simple, but you do have to set yourself aside in order to step into someone else's life and see them. Talking to middle schoolers just this week about care, it's funny. Most of their answers, and don't tell them, parents, most of their answers were, I'm going to do my chores, but I'm going to have a better attitude. That's cute, first of all. Right. But, like, the fact that they're setting, like, I'm going to put my bad attitude aside to care for my parents by doing the thing that they expect me to do, like, give them grace. Okay, they're figuring it out. But, church, where you're sent. You're sent. Where are you stuck?
Yeah.
Because the care movement is going, and we're going to talk here in a second just about stories and how you have showed up, the steps that you have taken. But, John, we have some numbers, right?
We got some. There are a lot of people taking their next step. It's really exciting.
Which is so encouraging to hear. But, okay, you do it. You do it.
Me do it? Okay. Yeah. We've had over 1,500 people, not 1,500 people, 1,500 individual acts of care that people have communicated to us via the website or conversations. 1,500 people intentionally caring for someone like Jesus would. I get so excited to hear that. And so I'm trying to do it too, like you, right? So you're reaching out to these middle school students. So can I tell a story?
Yes, please. I know what you're going to say, so please tell the story.
All right.
It's fantastic.
So on Monday, I'm pulling out of the church parking lot, and as I take my left-hand turn, I see this kid. He's probably about maybe 7 or 8, and he's carrying stuff out to the side of the road. So I figure, he's selling stuff. And I got to get to what I'm doing and get back because I want to stop and I want to care for him. And sure enough, I show up and he's selling stuff. I know because he has a ripped notebook piece of paper on this little tiny thing that says stuff for sale. And hanging off the side of his table, which is where you put your best item, are 5 plastic hangers. So I pull up and I go, hey, what are you doing? And he goes, I've got stuff for sale. I said, that's awesome because I'm looking for stuff. What have you got? And he goes, well, come here and I'll show you. And so I walk over and I gave a pass on the hangers. We have plenty. And he's got this box of not awesome stuff. And he reaches in and he pulls out a sandwich bag full of Pokemon cards. Not collector's cards, used cards, heavily used. And he goes, $50. And I'm like, huh. Well, and I think he saw in my eyes that I wasn't going for the $50 because then he goes, 25. You can have them for 25. I'm like, it's a little out of my price range. What else have you got? And he starts looking around. He goes, well, I've got these. They're Minions. And I said, I love Minions. Despicable Me. Great movie. How much are they? And he goes, they're $5. Now, I'm pretty sure he got this out of a Happy Meal, but I want to care. So I'm like, all right, $5. I am in. And I pull out my wallet and I hand him $5. And this little 8-year-old kid goes, because you're my first customer of the day, it's buy one, get one free. So now I'm the proud owner of 2 Minions, and I cared for him, and he cared for me. It was awesome.
In the comments, if you would like a Minion, we're selling them for $10. Am I right?
$50.
$50.
$50, but you can talk me down to 25.
Guys, care. The cool thing about care is it's like a snowball.
Yeah.
I mean, you cared for him, and he's like, you know what? We're in this together, man. And it's just cool to see how care multiplies. And we're in this movement, and we didn't choose the word movement because you're just doing things. It's because you are inspiring people to care. In the comments, we want to know who's cared for you this week. Because I think one thing that I've noticed in this care movement is I've become very aware of people caring for me. My eyes, they're spotting it. At home right now, Tessa and I say, dare to care. Can you do the dishes? And we just like ask each other, like, hey, can you dare to care and fill my water bottle up? So, but we see care as much as it's a joke, and we're really excited about this movement. Comment.
Yeah.
Who's cared for you? Who's cared for you?
And a quick shout out to Jacqueline. Thank you for confirming that these were, in fact, from a Happy Meal.
Oh, my gosh.
Good to know where they came from. So while you give some shout outs, people who have been caring well for you, we want to give some shout outs too, because we've heard some really fun stories this week about people who are finding innovative and creative ways to care. John Kids Trek. They have been on the road. They've been taking a road trip.
They have been. It's, okay, say it with me, church. Mister. Wow, my echo.
Yeah,
John is like a formidable force, okay? Mister, thank you. Snufflebottoms.
I'm not going to say that.
Mr. Snufflebottoms, okay? Your kids know. They have been going house to house, and at a safe distance, they've been visiting kids. Mr. Snufflebottoms was there. Hubba Bubba was there. And Party Patty, she was there. And they're giving out like popsicles, and they're just visiting kids. So Kids Trek, it's been really cool to see what you're doing to care in this movement.
And while they're caring, John has been really intentional about making sure that every single family knows about the movie times for the drive-in theater.
Okay, more numbers. The theater, though, nearly 300 people at the drive-in theater came last week.
Just Friday. And what they told me is there were like 3 cars from New Life and everybody else was from the community.
Care multiplies. And our community sees that we want to care for them, and they're coming to be cared for. We're caring for families. Like, that's the type of movement that you're a part of, church. That's the type of movement. I want to give a shout out. I'm the middle school pastor, okay? But I want to give a shout out to the high school pastor. So Amanda had a bunch of students cleaning up a beach this morning, like caring for their community this morning. Walking around with buckets and stuff.
They found something weird. It was really kind of cool. You got that last thing they found? Yeah, that looks like a crawdad? Crayfish. What are we calling that?
It's a crawdad, okay? Because crayfish are saltwater, so Google says. So don't hurt me in the comments if I'm wrong.
Well, I'm glad the picture was up and people didn't see the look at this stain on your face when you corrected me.
Okay, I grew up with crawdads, and Amanda came into the office all excited. We found a crayfish! And I'm like, a crawdad? She's like, No, John, please. It's a crayfish. It was a crawdad, and I grew up catching and eating them. But they were pumped, so good job.
And no
High school
crawdads were hurt in the filming
Filming.
of this, in the photoing of this endeavor. Shout out to one of our life groups. The Adcox Life Group have decided that they wanted to support the food pantry here at the church. And so they said, we're going to supply cereal to families. And I'll tell you, train them up in the way they shall go. And when they are older, they will not depart from it. So shout out to the Hughes family. Girls, you're adorable. That one life group has already supplied 183 boxes of cereal for local families this week. It's pretty awesome.
Wow. 183 boxes.
Sometimes numbers are fun, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I can't even really fathom the tower of cereal that I could build that I could crawl into.
It would be good. It would be fun.
I could survive for days.
So, do you eat cereal? I don't eat cereal.
No. I don't like the sugary stuff.
This next one's a cool one.
Yeah.
Because we got some information from a mom that said her kids, because Kids Trek is promoting care as well, their kids had an idea of something that they wanted to do.
Oh, you wanted me to finish that sentence?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and do that for you.
Sorry.
So the Douglas family, love these kids. Seamless transition, John. That was awesome.
Yeah, thanks.
They decided that they wanted to put care packages together for kids in their neighborhood, all on their own. A little bit of help from mom, I'm guessing maybe the Bows. And then they went door to door and left gifts on people's doorsteps just to say we care and to bless them. And I love the creativity in the care movement, what different people are doing.
Kids can care, okay? Kids can care. Don't think your kids are too young to care. Guys, in the comments, comment how you're caring, okay? One thing that we've noticed is coffee equals care. Am I right? Coffee equals care to me. I mean, if you make me coffee, like, I feel very cared for.
You made me coffee 45 minutes ago. Deeply appreciated.
Yeah, it was bad.
It wasn't very good,
It was bad.
but it's the thought that counts.
The thought that
Sometimes
counts.
it's the thought that counts.
We want to give you an opportunity. We want to give you an opportunity to care with coffee. So we have a couple gift cards that we want to give to you guys to care for somebody around you. So in the comments, if you've been cared for and you want to care back just by this simple beverage, comment who has cared for you and how they cared. And we'll message you, we'll find you, and we'll actually give you a gift card in order to care back, right? This movement thing means that we're caring continuously. Look at that. Vanna White over here. So comment, okay? Comment. The moderator will be able to find you and message you, and we'll be able to help you care back, okay? To care back.
Been some other stories that are coming through. Some of the folks who are online here with us right now. Awesome. Nola. Nola has been helping to feed a single mom and her kids in her neighborhood. Love that you were just loving people that way. Well done.
Or George. George has been giving people who need a ride. He's been driving them around. He's been helping them out. I mean, care doesn't have to be complicated. You don't have to go far. Just like Pastor Jim said, your Seleucia can be across the street. Your step doesn't have to be much. If you see a need, you can care and you can step in and you can actually make a huge difference in somebody's life by very practical things. So good job, George.
Yeah, George just saw an older gentleman like rolling a tire down the road and pulled over and said, "What are you doing?" The guy goes, "I'm trying to get this to a repair shop," and throw in the trunk. Get in the car. He picked up another guy who was standing out in the rain that one day we got, because it's August, where there was a deluge. The guy had missed his bus. He was trying to walk to work. George didn't know him, just pulled over and said, "Hey, where can I take you?" Super.
Care changes people's hearts. Okay, care makes a bigger difference to people than often we can quantify. And can I encourage you? Care without needing anything in return. Because sometimes we care and we never get to see the fruit of that care even in our lifetimes. But know that the kingdom of God is affected by the care that you're giving. So church, keep on caring. John, I think we have one more shout out.
I want to give a card away. I'm reading some of these comments. Okay. And Christine Janelle Brown, her husband Anthony, cleaned the house and changed the sheets on the bed while she was here working in the food pantry. Way to go, son. That deserves some coffee.
proud of you. The
Anybody else in there?
Daltons.
Oh, yeah, the Daltons.
The
Good
Daltons.
job, Daltons.
I mean, you guys are my favorite. I mean, everybody else, you're all my favorites, especially Wednesday people. But the Daltons, they've been caring for seniors who can't leave their home.
Yep.
That's a real need right now. If you know somebody who can't leave the home, can't get groceries, just simple things. The Daltons showed up with groceries, and they've been helping homebound seniors. That care makes a difference, Daltons. Thank you so much.
Really good. Really, really good. Patty says that she is caring for like mini pygmy goats while her son's on a vacation. I don't think that's Patty caring for something. I think Patty is in heaven. So I don't know, Patty, that qualifies as an act of service. I think he's serving you. John, anybody care for you this week that you want to give a shout out to?
Okay. This just warmed my heart. I get a little focused on caring for people, and I forget that people want to care back. And I got an email 2 days ago, yesterday, something like that. And it was Jeff and Sherry Vota. Fun fact about Jeff and Sherry Vota. They're on here, so hi, Jeff and Sherry. It's good to see you.
Hey, guys.
The Student Center is right by the north entrance, and they're the greeters at that door at the 10 o'clock service. So I become accustomed with the people who come through the north entrance because, like, they're my people. Like, I'm like a second row of greeter, and they just encouraged me and said, like, it's good to see you on Sundays. It's good to see you coming from the north entrance and knowing that we're handing people off to a second greeter. Can I just say, I already told you this, but thanks for greeting them so well. It's a lot easier when they get to me when they're already smiling. Votas, thank you for caring for me. It does mean the world to me. John, who's cared for you?
So sometimes when you want to care for somebody, you need a little bit of help. So I wanted to care for Wendy this week. Well, last couple of, I always want to care for Wendy, but in particular, we've got a side yard, which for years has been the dog's bathroom. And Wendy would like it to be a usable space. So it looked like this a couple of weeks ago because we decided we were gonna build a deck over there, and I couldn't do it on my own. Mm-hmm. So Randy Carr came over. Thank you, Randy. Helped me dig these holes and map it out. Andy Lindahl came over, helped me put some joists in. Jarrett came over. Vosberg helped me lay some planks. And now our backyard, our side yard looks really good. It's usable space. So so thank you, you three, and Randy in particular, because, man, you were over there a lot, and there's no way I could have done this without you. Thanks for caring for me to help me care for my wife.
John, we have something exciting coming up, don't we? You come apparently sponsored by this thing due to your sweatshirt. I
had no idea what you're talking about. Okay, yeah.
Church, Rooted's coming up, okay? Rooted, the signups are this Sunday, and it's going to be the fall series. We're going to have in-person. We're going to have Zoom Rooted experiences. And are you out of rhythm? Rooted. Do you want to care? There is no better way to care than the community that can be offered through Rooted. So inviting people, that's a big deal. John, you're the Rooted guy. What else do we have to know about Rooted?
Rooted is a 10-week discipleship experience based on the 7 rhythms of Rooted. And if you are looking for community, if you're looking to take the next step, if you're looking to invest in your own spiritual development, Rooted is for you. It's how we, as a New Life team, can care for you. But we want to help you care for other people the same way. And so what we're going to do is, if you would like to come through Rooted and you will care for someone by bringing them with you, we will offer both of you a $20 scholarship. So we'll pay $20 for your registration, $20 for their registration. Us caring for you as you care for someone else, because care matters. If that's something you want to do, something you want to take advantage of, email me. My email address is going to be popping up in the comments. It's johnm@newlifeeverett.org, because our registration isn't even up yet, but you're going to get advanced registration. And secondly, I want to talk to people who have been through Rooted or who have facilitated Rooted. If you've been a Rooted facilitator and you're kind of thinking, what's a good way for me to care for people right now? Leaning in to care for people either in person or on Zoom through the Rooted experience is a great way for you to disciple people. And I would just challenge you to remember back to how God met you. And when you look at what's going on around us, isn't the answer for people to be able to draw closer to Jesus, to discover a sense of purpose, experience the nearness of God in the context of community? If you would be willing to consider facilitating a rooted group, would you also email me? I'll talk to you about the times, the dates, and the process, whether it's in person or whether it's online, because I want to help you care for people this way. John, you and I are going to do this as well. We're going to be facilitating a way we've never facilitated before. What would you say to someone who is online with us today or even watching later, kind of going, a little scared? I hear the invitation to reach out and care for people this way, but you're asking me to consider doing something I've never done before. What would you say to them?
I would say, dare to care. We're in a season and in a world where care isn't natural. And care is a ladder that you can't see, a staircase you can't see the end of. And I look at it, and I'm like, okay, I don't know where this online thing's going to go. And daring would be taking that step and saying, I'm going to do this and trust that God is going to show up, that he is good enough, that he can see past our insecurities and he can meet the people who need this community right now. So I'm nervous to do it, for sure. I mean, to not sit in a circle and to experience this conversation with each other, that makes me nervous. And that's a Seleucia that I'm going to have to conquer. But would you dare with me? Would you step out in faith with me and trust that staircase isn't going to lead you astray, but that God is in those steps because you're walking by his Spirit by taking that step of faith? That's my encouragement.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you. It's been fun hanging out with you doing Wednesday Night Live.
It is.
I like talking about new steps, doing new things, right?
Mm-hmm.
We haven't done this before. We're going to play a little bit of musical chairs. I'm going to step out. Tyler's going to step in. And I know, John, you've got some thoughts to just kind of focus our hearts as we close with some worship. So as always, you're welcome to get about the rest of your evening, eat dinner. But if it would be refreshing for you as you dare to care, to spend some time in worship and in the presence of Jesus, we're going to do that. We're going to do that now. So I'm going to step out. You're going to step over. Tyler's going to step in. It's going to be awesome. All right?
Yeah.
Ready,
Yeah.
set, go. Talk amongst yourselves for a moment.
Church, I know that care can be scary, right? Because you have to set yourself aside in order to actually step into the presence of God and the grace, right? The grace that he has for you. We're about to go into worship, and over the first song, I hope it refreshes you. But would you tune your ear to his voice and be open to the Spirit of God dropping names into your own mind and into your heart that you can step out and care for? We do have to dare to care. It's not natural right now. When I'm talking to middle schoolers, I tell them, you have to reach your friends. You have to reach your friends because I don't know them. And I tell them, I have a really big wingspan. Like it's really far. But I can't reach the people out here that you're reaching. But if you stand next to me and you reach out your little arms, you can reach your friends. You can reach your people. You get it. I need to explain longer to them. Stand next to me. Stand next to us, and let's care as a movement because we can change this community. We can change this world by daring, stepping outside of ourselves and caring. So Tyler's going to lead us, and just be willing. Sustain me with a willing spirit, Father, to hear what you have and where you want me to go and how you want me to care. So, church, thanks for being with us. And as as you hear, thank you for your obedience. I'm trusting that. Let's worship together.
All things have passed away. Your love has stayed the same. Your constant grace remains the cornerstone. And things that we thought were dead are breathing in life again. You cause your sun to shine on darkest nights. For all that you've done, we will pour out our love. This will be our anthem song. Jesus, we love you. Oh, how we love you. You are the one our hearts adore. The hopeless have found their hope. The orphans now have a home. All that was lost has found its place in you. And you lift our weary head. You make us strong instead. You took these rags and made us beautiful. For all that you've done, we will pour out our love. This will be our anthem song. Jesus, we love you. Oh, how we love you. You are the one our hearts adore. And Jesus, we love you. And oh, how we love you. You are the one our hearts adore. Our hearts adore. Oh, our hearts adore. And our affection, our devotion poured out on the feet of Jesus. Our affection, our devotion poured out on the feet of Jesus. Our affection, our devotion poured out on the feet of Jesus. Our affection, our devotion poured out on the feet of Jesus. We love you. And oh, how we love you. You are the one our hearts adore. And Jesus, we love you. Oh, how we love our hearts adore. You give life, you are love, you bring light to the darkness, you give hope, you restore every heart that is broken. And great are you, Lord. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. And great are you, Lord. You give life, you are love, you bring light to the darkness, you give hope, you restore every heart that is broken. And great are you, Lord. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. And all the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry, these bones will sing. Great are you, Lord. And all the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry, these bones will sing. Great are you, Lord. And all the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry, these bones will sing. Great are you, Lord. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so
Church, thanks for being with us tonight. Thanks for daring to care. Can I encourage you with Psalm 51? It says, create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me. Cast me not away from your presence, and take not your Holy Spirit from me. Restore to me the joy of your salvation, and uphold me with a willing spirit. As you care, do not become fatigued. We want to celebrate alongside of you, but let God's salvation be the thing that sustains you, his spirit, the well that you draw from. Have a great evening, and we'll see you Sunday.